What's up, horror fam?
You know what time it is.
And today we're getting into Jennifer's body.
Let's get into this.
All right. You guys heard that, right?
Yeah.
We're getting into Jennifer's body today.
Hell yeah.
What's up, horror fam, and welcome to the Horror Chronicles podcast, your favorite podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me as always, the man, the myth, the legend, JT's in the house.
What's up, everybody?
And as you heard, kind of. We are getting into Jennifer's body, and that is the movie, of course, the movie Jennifer's Body.
Yes.
It's a great film, and before we get into that, guys, we're going to do a little bit of business real quick. If you're just listening to this on iTunes and Spotify and all that good jazz, and you're not following us on Facebook, jump on over to the Facebook page, give us a follow and a like, and start a conversation. You know, we're highly active on there. Join the community. Our community page, everybody can get on there and make comments, make posts, all that good stuff.
Snide remarks, whatever you want.
Whatever.
And if you are listening to us on iTunes, rate and give us a review. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much that helps us rank up in their system.
Yeah, helps us be seen.
Yeah.
And also, guys, if you're looking for some good, badass merch from the Horror Fam, if you want to represent your horror fam, you can find us over at tpublic.com.
Yes, that's
go ahead.
TEEPUBLIC.com.
That's right, guys.
Just type in Horror Chronicles and all our merch will pop right up.
Yeah, and we're working on some new designs too. We got a few up there really good, and but we're working on some new stuff too. So
hell yeah,
good things to come. Good things to come.
And if you're into metal music, check out craniumradio.com.
Cranium Radio,
killer music, great DJs, and you get to listen to us every Friday night.
That's
at
right,
9
guys.
Central, 10 Eastern.
There you go, guys. And if you want to come on the show, you guys know what to do. If you've listened to this podcast before, you just got to send us a message and let us know what's up. You can message us on Facebook, or you can send us an email at horrorchroniclespodcast@gmail.com. And tell us your story. If you want to come on the show, we can work that out. We can take phone calls, so don't be afraid of that. But if you are worried about being on the show yourself, but you still want us to tell your story, we can do that. And we can even do it anonymously, guys. So don't be afraid. Come on over. We like having a good conversation. And, real quick, don't forget, the last Saturday of the month, we always do a live show on Facebook and have a cool-ass conversation with you guys. So tune on in for that, guys. And
yeah, it's good times.
I think that's the business.
We done gave you the business.
So yeah, let's get into Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, let's just get all over it.
This movie is so good.
Yeah.
It's a horror comedy, you know.
Okay.
It's a horror comedy. I mean, if you watch this movie and you don't laugh at things,
yeah, there are some things. There's a lot of sci-fi horror there going on. You know? But,
and there's a lot of cool aspects to this movie that we'll get into throughout this episode and stuff. Yeah. But there's just a lot of cool things. It's a great movie, guys. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it already, which I'm sure if you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast,
you've probably seen this.
You've probably seen this.
Yeah.
But
it's a fun movie to watch, and you know, I've watched it a couple of times this week just to look at Meagan Fox. But but anyway, so what we're talking about is Jennifer's Body from 2009. It was rated R, which they were kind of pissy about. They didn't want an R rating, but that's what they got. So it stars the lovely Meagan Fox as Jennifer Check, Amanda Seyfield as Anita Needy Lesnicki. Lesnicki. Johnny Simmons as Chip. Adam Brody is Nikolai. He was the lead singer of the band. Mm-hmm. And then it also had some other famous people in it. Chris Pratt.
Guy you guys might know. You know, you might know Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt played a police officer, but he wasn't in uniform. It was really weird.
Yeah.
And then the famous J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons, if you don't know who he is, he's been in a lot of movies.
A ton of movies.
I think he's been in every movie that's probably ever made.
And you would know him now.
You'll know him once you see his face.
You know him now as the insurance. What's the insurance? The progressive?
No. It's not progressive, but it's not the. Oh my God, what is it?
We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He does all those commercials now. Great actor. I was really surprised that he was in this.
Yeah.
And,
I haven't seen this
forgotten.
movie. I watched this movie yesterday. I hadn't seen it in so long that I forgot a lot of things about it. So,
and then we even get a quick little glimpse of the master of horror himself, Lance Henriksen. Lance Henriksen, if you don't know that name, he's been in a ton of stuff. He played the robot in the Alien movies.
Mm-hmm.
He was the dad in Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been in a ton of
fucking.
shit.
Let's not forget. Gosh dang it, Near Dark.
Near Dark, yeah, he was the head vampire.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a great fucking.
Yeah,
actor,
he's a great actor. He's done a lot of horror. He's done a lot of TV shows and stuff too. Mm-hmm. Just really cool, really cool. But anyway, quick little synopsis on this movie. Basically, this movie is about a newly possessed high school cheerleader who turns into a succubus, and she specializes in killing her male classmates. Yeah.
Yeah, and killing them in a crazy ass way too.
Yeah. Yeah, the kill scenes on this are pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's
brutal.
It's pretty good. So yeah, guys, the director was Karen Kusama. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yep. If you don't know that name, she's done a few things that you guys may recognize. In 2005, she did a movie starring Charlize Theron called Aeon Flux.
Yeah.
Pretty cool sci-fi flick. She's been a part of the new show, The Man in the High Castle. Well, I say new. It's been around for a little while. She directed a couple episodes of that. But the big thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's a movie out there. It's called XX. And basically what that is it's an all-female horror anthology. Every different movie in the anthology was directed by a female director. Very cool. It came out in 2017. She directed the episode Her Only Living Son. And there's some big star power in that too. If you ever watched 2.5 Men, Rose, who was in 2.5 Men, she's in that. Quite a few others. Pretty cool. I watched that back in 2017, and it was pretty cool. But the one thing that shocked me about this lady is she produced a documentary called Leap of Faith, William Friedkin on The Exorcist.
Ah.
So William Friedkin is the one who, directed The Exorcist.
She made a documentary about him.
And she made a documentary about him making the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Shit, yeah, that's badass.
Pretty cool. She's been around the block.
And not in that way, you fucks.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, guys, and this movie was written by someone with
greatest name ever.
Diablo Cody. Is that a, made up name, stage name, whatever you want to call it, or is it the real name? Either way, it's pretty badass. And this is a female, and she writes mostly about girls dealing with like external, internal troubles.
Things fucked up in their head, and
You guys may have seen the movie Juno.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a movie that she wrote, which I do remember seeing that movie.
Yeah. It starred Ellen Page and Michael Cera. Came out in 2007.
So yeah, I mean, badass name for sure.
Yeah. And there's some other cool stuff about her. So let's get into some numbers here.
So go ahead.
So this movie was filmed on a budget of $16 million. $16 million's a lot of money.
Fuck yeah,
in anybody's book.
I need that.
But unfortunately, it didn't do so well in the box office. So this movie was released in the United States and Canada on September 18th of 2009. it was released just after it premiered at the 2009 Toronto International Film Festival. It got some good reviews at the film festival, so they did a wide release in the States. Unfortunately, opening day, it only made $2.8 million. Opening weekend, it made $6.8 million.
Which really isn't nothing.
But it was up against some other movies that were coming out that were big blockbusters, but I don't want to get into those right now. It had some tough competition that weekend. But totally, the film grossed $16,200,000 domestically and another $15.3 million in international sales. The worldwide total on this was $31.5 million. That's respectable.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good
on a
amount of-
$16 million budget.
Yeah, I mean, they made profit for sure.
Yeah. What was cool about this movie is it was completely recorded or filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
In different areas of Canada, and they used some of the schools up there
Yeah.
to film all these scenes.
Yeah. People are
Pretty
filming.
cool.
A
It
lot
must be
in
cheaper to
Canada
film in
anymore. I
Canada.
was to say because people are filming in Canada quite a bit. I see.
Yeah.
So
You
so
got
yeah.
some great shows like Forever Night,
Forever.
Canadian-made TV show.
So
You
guys,
guys have never seen that. That's a killer show too.
I have not seen that.
You have not watched Forever Night? Mm-mm. Oh, dude. Before you leave, remind me. I've got them on DVD.
Yes, I have to check that out for sure.
Forever Night was about a cop that was a vampire.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
You told me about
that.
that.
was a cool show.
All right, guys. So that's the numbers stuff on this. Now we're just gonna get into the movie and we're gonna talk about some stuff in the movie and
So, this movie starts out with Amanda Seyfield's character. Her name's Anita, but they all call her Needy. She starts out. It starts out with her in a correctional facility, like
it's like a mental hospital.
Yeah, like an institution.
and it's her like doing a little. It's her speaking.
Yeah,
And she's explaining the situation that's going on.
Right. What was interesting about the beginning of it is that it shows her in her room, and she's talking about all the letters and stuff that she's gotten from people and all the cards and gifts and stuff. And then it immediately goes to a scene of you see Meagan Fox, Jennifer, laying in a bed watching TV. Well, she's actually reading a book or something.
She's looking at a magazine, and the TV's on, but she looks fucking sick.
Yeah, she does. She still looks good.
We'll get into it.
She still looks good, but she doesn't look quite right.
What's funny about this first opening scene is like she's explaining all this stuff and like she's talking about how like no one fucks with her in this facility and she's known as a kicker.
Yeah.
And then like that lady comes up. This lady, one of the doctors is like comes up to her. She's standing in a corner with her fucking bunny slippers on.
Yeah.
Orange jumpsuit and bunny slippers, and she's sitting there, and she's like, yeah, I'm known as a kicker, and then it shows this lady come up, and she's like, have you been eating or whatever, and she's like, one Pop-Tart, and she's like, that's not healthy enough. I think you should. And she got about two, I think you should, and just boom, straight football kicks this fucking
kicks her over a table, dude. Knocks her goddamn tooth out.
Oh, dude, I loved it.
It was fucking killer, man.
Yeah, and then they start dragging her off, and it's just that's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
man. Straight Spartan kicks her, fucking over the table.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. But the movie starts with her looking through the window, watching Jennifer lay in her bed, and then it goes back into her being at the.
What leads up to this?
Then it goes back into her being in the asylum. It just really quick flip there, and it really makes you start thinking, okay, what the hell's going on here, and then you realize, she's telling the story.
Yeah,
she's
narrating her own.
She's narrating her own demise here.
Yeah,
so
yeah, guys. I guess the beginning of the movie you get introduced to the characters, of course. You know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. They talk about how Needy is this like kind of nerdy girl,
Yeah, kind of
homely girl,
Yeah.
but funny and nice and shit. And she's best friends with Jennifer, who's this hot fucking cheerleader girl,
Smoking
that,
hot. Yeah, they met playing in a sandbox when they were little
They've been
girls,
best friends
and they've been best friends all their life.
What does she say? Sandbox love never goes away. Or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, they're best friends from the beginning. I got friends like that I've been friends with since I was
Right.
fucking, whatever age. But anyway, so, and people are like, she's saying that Needy's narrating a story, and she's just like how it's kind of weird that they're an unlikely friendship that no one would think was actually,
Right,
real.
right.
And you meet her boyfriend, Chip, of course. That's Needy's boyfriend. And, then it leads into the trip to the bar.
Yeah. So so Needy and her boyfriend are at the house, and of course he's wanting to do a little brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah,
And,
that means fuck. He's
yeah.
wanting to fuck.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm going out with Jennifer tonight," and they're going to this little bar. So they live in this small town. It's called the Devil's Kettle.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the reason why they named it that is there is a waterfall that comes down, and as it runs out, it runs into the small hole, and it creates a whirlpool. And there's been all kinds of scientists there and stuff trying to figure out where it's going, where it leads to, and they never can figure it out because no matter what they
Drop in
this hole,
it never
resurfaces. So that's why the town's called Devil's Kettle, and it's a town of a population of a little over 7,000 people. So it's a very small town.
Shit,
so
coming from now 400.
I grew up in a place of 250,000. So they end up. So Jennifer shows up at the house, and
She's wanting to go check out this band.
she wants to go see a band at this bar.
What was it called? Cold Shoulder.
Cold Shoulder.
What's the name of the band?
Called Low Shoulder.
Low Shoulder?
Low Shoulder.
Low
Yeah.
Shoulder. Okay.
Yeah, Low Shoulder.
Low Shoulder.
So they go to this bar, and I don't remember what the name of the bar was now.
Oh yeah, they go to this.
Kind of escapes me. I don't know, but anyway. So they end up going to this bar to watch this band, and as they walk in, they run into Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
And apparently Chris Pratt and Jennifer have had something going on because she kind of grabs him by the dick.
Yeah.
And they talk for a little bit, and then she ends up going and getting drinks and takes the drinks up to Needy, and then they start watching this band. And the band comes out, and they're all like, I don't know.
Hipsters. No,
Yeah.
they're like,
I don't know.
what you call them.
I mean, they're Panic at the Disco kind of band, which nothing wrong with that. But anyway, they, the band plays. Well, while the band's playing, all of a sudden a small fire breaks out on the curtain on the stage.
Yeah.
And then it goes up the curtain and across the rafter of the bar. And nobody sees this happening except for Needy. She's watching it go on.
Which the whole time I'm sitting, I'm like, why are you fucking watching?
Why
don't you tell
didn't
some-
you say something?
And then the bartender sees it,
and then all of a sudden the bartender looks up and sees it, and by then it's too late. The whole place.
Oh, and
fucking
right
goes
before
up.
this, though, she goes up to introduce herself to the fucking band. Jennifer does, and the band members, they walk. She goes to get them a drink, and then Needy walks over to the side and is playing some pinball game or whatever. But she overhears the band members talking about how, I think she's a virgin and all this other stuff.
yeah.
So she kind of she knows something's up already.
Right.
But Needy does. She
Yeah.
even walks up and tells them.
So
And then they're watching this band play, and then the fucking fire happens, right? And so they get out, and they go to the parking lot, and magically here comes the fucking lead singer
of the band, Nikolai.
comes up and is like, hey, let's go to a safe place, my van.
Yeah, that sounds real safe. And of course, Needy's not wanting to go. She's like, "Hey, we've got the Sebring.
Yeah.
we'll take a fucking Sebring." we got the Sebring. We'll take it home, And Jennifer's like, oh, no, let's go, and check it out.
She's like, we're going to go to his van. His
So
cool van.
so of course Jennifer gets in the van with these guys, and Needy is standing outside the van. She's like, no, I don't want to go, blah, blah, blah. So the singer walks up, and he's like, okay, to each his own, and he gets in the van, and he shuts the door. And as he's shutting the door, you can see Jennifer looking at Needy, and she's like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, these guys in this van end up driving off, and then Needy goes home. So a little while later that night, Needy's in the house, and all of a sudden Jennifer shows up at the house. And
which is a real cool scene.
Yeah,
the whole
it's a
scene's
really cool scene. But she shows up at the house, and she's covered in blood. And Needy's like, oh, my God, what happened? Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And Jennifer immediately runs over to the refrigerator, and she's like, I am so hungry. She runs over to the refrigerator, and she pulls out a chicken or something and starts eating it. And Needy's like, hey, my mom bought that at Boston Market.
I'm not supposed to touch it. And she's just shit. Then she like screams, just like this demon,
like a demon scream or
crazy
whatever.
ass.
And then all of a sudden, Jennifer starts vomiting out this black fluid. And it gets all over Needy and all over the floor. And then what was weird about it is how it rippled and it crystallized.
It kind of reminds you of the goo from Venom.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like when a suit comes on, like the weird like way it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Fucking crazy, dude. And then like Jennifer jumps up. She's. Needy's like freaked the fuck out, and then Jennifer gets up and like pushed her up against the wall or whatever, and was like, ask her if she's scared and all this other shit, right. And then like she just leaves.
Yeah.
And at this time, Jennifer, by the way, is all cut up and weird look, like
right.
You see like something had happened to her. You don't know it yet in the movie, but you can tell something's happened to her.
Right. So then it flips us to the next day. And they're in school, and Jennifer shows up at school like nothing even happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
all looking good again.
Yeah. She looked good, but and when Needy was asking her about it, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with me. And blah, blah,
she's
blah.
like, I cleaned up the shit all night long, and showed her like scrubbing the black shit off the floor.
Yeah, showing her do it, But yeah, and that's when we meet J.K. Simmons he's the teacher.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and they're talking about the big fire at the bar the night before, and how several people had died. And one of the guys that had died in the fire was a foreign exchange student that was there.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
weird
but
name. From India.
Ahmed or something, I don't know.
Can't remember.
But yeah, so they're all kind of crying about that, and Jennifer's just like smiling. She's like,
yeah, you get to see
you could tell
at this time.
She really didn't give a shit.
Well, you're starting to see the disconnect from the world, and her.
That's a good word.
Yeah, I know, I'm a fucking genius.
Fuck yeah, you
I don't even fucking know anymore. If I get any smarter, anyways. Even Needy's like, okay, because she says something and gets snappy with Needy about it, and she's like, okay, I could tell that something's not right
something's
here.
Wrong here,
And then, so she's just being a smart aleck about everybody, and they're talking about people dying, and she's laughing about it or whatever, and making jokes and this and that,
Right.
And because the teacher's like, we will not let this fire win.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it already has. Just little things like that. So it's clear that there's like I said, a disconnect from the world and her emotions
from
and
reality.
all that. And she can already Needy can already tell that. I mean, obviously, she showed up at your house looking like she'd been beat to fucking death. The next day, she's like perfect.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So shortly after that, the captain of the football team was killed in the fire at the bar, and his best friend Jennifer finds this guy. He's standing in the football field, just kind of weeping, because he just lost his best friend or whatever. So she talks to him for a little bit and kind of hugs on him and then offers to hey, let's go off in the woods.
Well, she says she's like I was probably the last person to to hear his last words.
Oh yeah, I was the last person.
And then she's like, he told me that me and you would make a smoking hot couple. And he was like, he said smoking hot?
yeah. Hell yeah.
And then she ends up taking him into the fucking woods and she's a succubus. So she ends up killing him.
So she ends up seducing the guy and then kills him.
And this is the funny part too, because
dude,
go ahead.
Talking about all the animals?
Yeah, well,
they get out there and she starts taking the guy's clothes off and he was like, whoa, wait, this is weird. And they start looking around and all the fucking animals in the forest have gathered around in a circle and are just watching them.
Yeah.
Like raccoons and deer and
chupacabras,
a beaver,
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Chupacabra, Bigfoot. And then fucking one other funny part about this is as funny as it can be, when it shows after the kill scene, it shows her the guy's parents.
Yeah,
it's the guy's dad is the dude from Coach, The Stand.
Yeah.
MOON.
Yeah,
from The Stand.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll find you, and I'm going to shove your balls up your own ass or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, man.
Yeah, there's so many famous people in this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. And then, so basically what you get out of it is she has to eat people to keep her beauty.
To keep her appearance, yeah. Yeah. Because this demon is feeding on her.
Yeah.
Unless she's feeding on somebody else.
So do we want to explain or do we want to wait till we get to it?
Well, we'll wait till we get to
it.
Because I was we're getting to it really quick here.
What?
So one of the, like we said, as she feeds on these people, she turns back into this absolutely gorgeous girl again. So
swimming naked in the lake.
Here we are. Next day, she's back to being absolutely gorgeous again, One of the scenes that was really fucking cool, and I had to rewind it a couple times because I love the way this director did this. So there's a scene, after she kills this football player, where it shows her, Anita is telling the story, and it shows Jennifer walking down the hallway. What impressed me so much about that scene was everybody in that hallway is dressed in black. Mm-hmm. They've got black T-shirts on, black jackets, blah, blah, blah. All down both sides of the hallway, and there's lockers on both sides. And you see Jennifer walking through the crowd, and she is in full color. She's got this bright, shirt on and, these tight, bright pants on and just glowing as she's walking down the hallway, and everybody else in the hallway is all in black. I just thought that was cool,
filming.
The way they thought about putting that together, showing that she rules this fucking place. Yeah. It was just cool. I thought it was really neat.
Well, it's the atmosphere they throw out there. Bam.
Yeah.
Is, and that's kind of what's funny too. Everyone else is mourning the death of this football player and everybody else, and she's just walking around happy and cheerful, grin on her face, all that stuff.
So,
so yeah, we're gonna get into
how all this happened here in just a minute, but this band that was playing at the bar. There's a band called Low Shoulder, and because of all this going on, the town is getting all this press and different stuff, and all of a sudden it starts showing how these members of this band Low Shoulder are, I don't know, they portray them as heroes, like they saved people from the fire, blah, 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 and they start offering to make charity appearances at the school. They actually offer to make an appearance at the school's spring formal dance or whatever.
No, what they said is that there's a song they were saying called "Through the Trees."
Yeah.
or whatever.
And it's a famous song. If you hear it, you'll know it.
But anyways, so they're gonna. It's funny because they're in a classroom, and the teacher's telling them like, yeah, these heroes are gonna be donating 3% of their money from that song for this tour,
right,
to the families of the people that were lost or whatever in the fire. And Needy's sitting there like, that's not what happened.
They didn't save anybody.
Yeah, like, and then
the motherfuckers escaped just like everybody else.
Yeah, and then they're all like, shh, you can't say that about, and then blah, blah, blah. And
it's like, and that's the way it is. The media fucking blows shit out of proportion all the time.
And then once you hear this song fucking plays nonstop in the fucking movie. Yeah. Like, you'll hear it, and then like but we'll get into parts
every time
it.
she hears it, she's like,
fucking hate this fucking song.
So anyway, some time has passed, and it's about a month later, and Jennifer's looking all pale and stuff again, and not so beautiful. She ends up accepting a date with one of the emo kids. He's like a goth kid.
And you would know him. He actually played in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Which I loved his character in that.
He was in something else we were talking about, or my wife and I were talking about it. He was in something else that we had watched. But anyway, his name was Colin Gray in the movie. But she ends up meeting this guy in an old house. And he shows up there.
Yeah.
And she's in the house, and all these candles are lit and all this stuff, and she basically, same modus operandi, she seduces the guy and then ends up killing him.
Well, what's crazy about this part of the movie is that Colin is really good friends with Needy. And Needy thinks he's a nice guy or whatever. He's he's a writer and all this stuff. Well, Jennifer has already been making comments about like Chip, her boyfriend.
Right.
Oh, he's looking cute today. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, she sees that Colin comes up and is like trying to ask out Jennifer on a date, but he's kind of afraid to, or whatever. Well, she kind of blows it off at first, and then, they're walking. He starts to walk off, and they start to walk, and Needy's like, he's actually a nice guy. I think he's really a good guy, whatever. She's like, oh, you do? And he's like, oh, wait a minute. And she's like, you just come to my house. She stops him. And as he's driving that night, driving to the house, he's like looking for the house stuff, and he turns onto this road, and it's like pitch black.
Yeah.
Every house it's like they're unfinished houses. It's an unfinished subdivision. So he's like, what the fuck, and he's looking around. But the things you do for a little bit of things you would do for Jennifer's body.
If Meagan Fox asked me to meet her somewhere, I wouldn't care where it was. But anyway.
Well, whenever he gets up there, she starts to seduce him.
Right.
She starts kissing him, and then he's like, do you even know my last name,
Right.
And then she kind of slightly
you see her eyes
and her nose, her face kind of changed slightly.
Right. Well, her eyeballs they change. They change like almost to cat eyes.
Yeah. Well, and her face.
Like, what the hell?
And he's like, no way.
Yeah.
And then she just fucking.
Yeah. So then she attacks him. And what was cool about that scene, I love how they did that, because they basically didn't show her like tearing him apart. They showed a silhouette of it, a shadow on the wall.
Through the
and you could see her sitting on top of his body, like ripping his guts out.
Well, you see her morph.
And the blood.
Her body fucking like morphs and shit, and you see her, and then you see her, tearing shit off.
Dude, it was a fucking really cool scene the way they filmed that.
That was a really good scene.
Because they didn't have to show us the gore. You were seeing it in a shadow, and it was still effective. What's cool is at the same time, Needy is having sex with her boyfriend.
This is so good.
And whenever all this starts going on, Needy
is connected to Jennifer.
To Jennifer, and she starts seeing these weird visions.
And he's thinking that she's like moaning because of him. Yeah. Me and Crystal laughed so fucking.
He said, "What, am I too big?"
And he's like, "No." What's funny about it is because his facial expressions at first, he's like got this big smile.
Yeah,
he's like,
got this.
"Oh yeah," and he's like, and she's like, "Dude," and then he stops. She's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" am I too big?
Yeah.
And my
Yeah, it was
wife,
just fucking hilarious.
me and my wife watched this last night. She was fucking dying laughing.
Yeah.
She's like, that would be something you would say.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh,
But,
classic.
yeah, so, she's seeing all this in like a vision or whatever. She's not really seeing Colin dying, but
She's feeling
she's feeling it, and she sees the blood on the ceiling and stuff,
And it,
she's
drips on her face.
So she knows there's something going on, something wrong. So she gets up, she gets out of bed, and she's like, I gotta go, and she runs out the door, jumps in her car, and starts driving to try and find Jennifer. Well, she ends up, as she's driving, she almost hits Jennifer as she's walking across the street.
Yeah.
And here she is. She's got all her clothes on and a hoodie, and she's covered in blood again. Well, she almost hits her, but she skids out and ends up sliding
Down a
onto
side
another road.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't really wreck the car, but she skids to a stop.
Yeah.
And then she looks around and she can't see her. And then next thing you know, boom, right on the hood, busts the windshield. There's
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
And so she freaks out. She backs up really fast and takes off and heads back home. Well, as she gets home, when she walks in her bedroom, Jennifer is already there in her bedroom waiting for her. And
Well, what happens is she walks in the room, and this is where you notice some cool shit like the Evil Dead posters.
Right.
And, she walks into her room, and she's looking for her mom at first. She walks to the
Right.
house. Then she goes up into her room, and she goes in her room, takes off her jacket and all that shit, and goes to her bed. And she just lays straight down on the edge of her bed, faces the other way, and kind of gets ready to go to sleep. And then, all of a sudden, boom, Jennifer's like, hey. She's laying on the other side of her bed.
yeah.
This is probably the best scene of the movie.
Right. Oh, yeah. For sure. So they start talking, and next thing you know, they start kissing, and then there's a little makeout scene going on there.
Up close makeout scene.
Yeah, it was rather erotic.
Yeah, I rewinded it and played, till I finished. I mean,
until you finished, yeah.
no, but it's a super up close scene, like right under.
Yeah.
I was like, God dang, boy, they pushing this.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, something else just to mention. Whenever she walks in, you see the Evil Dead poster throughout the movie in her room, which is
Right.
cool. Love
Right.
Evil Dead.
Right.
And then, like, when she walks in her room and they're doing it, she's like, "Are you wearing my Evil Dead shirt?"
Yeah, and she was wearing an Evil Dead shirt.
Yeah.
And it was funny because as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, honey, Evil Dead.
Yeah.
But so then after the makeout scene, Jennifer or Needy is like, wait, what's
the
going
fuck is
on
going
here?
on?
You know.
Yeah.
So she's wanting an answer. So Jennifer starts telling her about what happened, and she tells her about the band. So basically, what happened here is, you want to tell this, or you want me to run with it?
I mean, so when they left, when they left that night of the fire, and as we said before, the band had talked about her being a virgin, because he's like, yeah, I know these type of girls. They show so much because they won't give out anything, blah blah blah. So and Needy had overheard them talking about it. She's like, walks over, she's like, that's my best friend, and yeah, she is a virgin. She's never going to do nothing with any of you guys, blah blah. So of course they're like, see, I told you, it's if she's a virgin. Well, she gets in the van, and at this point in time in the story, this is Jennifer telling what happened. She gets in the van, and they're driving off, and then she's like looking around, and then she sees like witchcraft books and Satanist books and all this kind of stuff like that. And the guys are all sitting around her talking, and then she's like, where are we going? And he's like, oh, you don't have to talk if you don't want to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so they're going to go try and do a sacrifice of a virgin so that...
Yeah, they're going to sacrifice a virgin to Satan for fame.
Yeah.
They're doing it for...
And this is something I want to get into.
To get famous.
For us, we both like music.
Oh, you want to do that too?
Yeah. Yeah, just...
I don't know. Yeah, you do? All right.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I don't know that I know any virgins, but...
No, but what I'm saying is, like, this is something I want
If
to
you're
talk...
a virgin, get a hold of us. We're willing to make a sacrifice here.
No.
No.
Basically, what I was going to say is, like, this aspect of the movie, we're talking about how the movie has different aspects to it.
Yeah.
And this is an aspect that we like because me and you are both into music.
Right.
And this is a well-known myth myth or legend in the music industry, is selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah, but they weren't at the crossroads. They were at Devil's Kettle.
Exactly. And she wasn't a virgin.
And she wasn't a virgin. And they didn't know that, though. So they sacrifice her. They basically tie her down by the kettle.
Yeah.
They tie her down, and the lead singer plunges this sacrificial knife into her heart.
Yeah.
And then he ends up pulling it out and throwing it into the kettle.
Well, and something like what in this mythology is that if you kill someone and it's not a virgin, the demon takes over that person.
Right.
And
so that's where this all comes from.
Well, it's
Jennifer was not a virgin. In fact, at the bar, she says, I'm not even an anal virgin.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not even an anal virgin, thanks to fucking Pete or whatever his name was back there. He's like, and it fucking hurts.
Raymond. Ramon. It was
something like
Chris
that.
Pratt.
He's like, and it fucking hurts.
Yeah. So unfortunately, these guys didn't know that, and so they sacrificed a non-virgin to Satan. And he created a demon. Mm-hmm. A very beautiful one at that.
Succubus, to be more exact.
So, but it did kind of work out for the guys because they ended up getting famous.
They did get famous, and we'll get in,
Yeah, they ended up getting famous, and so after she tells her the story, of course, Needy's like, I don't know, or what, and she's like, watch this, and she takes a pencil and she rips her arm open, and as they're watching it, you watch her arm heal. And
yeah, she's like, I'm like
holy shit,
like, this is like
get the fuck out of my house.
What did she say? She's like, this is some fucking Marvel shit or some shit like
that. Yeah, and she's like, you got to go, get out.
I'm fucking indestructible or some shit like that. Yeah.
So then Jennifer ends up jumping out the window, which is a second story window, by the way.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing? You can't. She's like, you told me you want me to leave. And then she just jumps out the fucking window. Yeah. It's like gone.
So then, Needy's trying to figure it out. So she ends up going to a library and checking out a bunch of books on the occult and different things. And she ends up telling Chip, her boyfriend, about Jennifer. So they've got the spring formal dance coming up. And Needy tells Chip, do not come to the dance. She's trying to keep him safe. She doesn't want to put him in harm's way. But he doesn't realize that that's really what, I don't know at this point that Chip really believed her.
No, he even said, he's like, I think you need to get help.
Yeah. So, anyway, then it comes the night of the dance. Everybody's getting ready, and there's a couple of really cool scenes I want to talk about here. So Needy gets ready for the dance, and her mom's asking her, so where's Chip? Is he picking you up? And she's like, oh, no, he's going to meet me there. Well, the whole time, Needy thinks that Chip is not coming because she's told him not to come to the dance. So Needy leaves to go to the dance, and then it shows Chip, and Chip's at home getting ready, and then he's talking to his mom, and he was like, well, I'm just going to meet her there. And then they take pictures and stuff. Well, then it goes to a scene of Jennifer getting ready for the dance. Now, Jennifer, at this point, she hasn't fed in a while. Mm-hmm. And so she looks, she's still pretty, but you can tell, like, her face is kind of gray. And she's really pale.
Feverish.
And just drained, So she sits down at a vanity, with a mirror for her to put her makeup on, and she starts slathering this makeup on her face. Well, the reason why I wanted to talk about that scene is I thought this was another cool thing that the director did. You had the vanity mirror that Jennifer's looking into, and then a picture right beside it of Jennifer as a beautiful girl, so you can really see the side-by-side comparison of what's happening with her. And it was just it made it a more powerful scene, So anyway, Chip ends up leaving the house. He's going to walk to the school because it's only like 5 blocks away. Well, to get there, he's got to walk through a park. So he's walking through this park in the dark, and as he's walking through, all of a sudden off in the distance, you see Jennifer.
Way off in
the distance, and she's got like a white gown on, like a white ball gown, and And it was really cool. It showed him take a few steps, and then all of a sudden she went into a mist, and then she was closer to him.
Fucking real close. She was pretty far away.
She was pretty far away. I'd say she was probably 30, 40 yards away from him. She goes into a mist, and then all of a sudden she's only like 20 yards away from him. And then he kind of feels something like, what the hell?
And he looks back.
He turns around and looks, and she's not there. And when he turns back around, she's standing right in front of him.
Yeah, she's like, didn't you hear me calling your name?
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was a cool the way
I like the way the scene was
scene.
like whenever, like you said, she was walking from a far distance. All of a sudden, she was like missed, and she was like right there.
Yeah, it was like a black cloud or whatever,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden
boom.
she's 20 yards closer to him, than,
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
That was a really good scene.
It was just cool the way they filmed that.
You know, something we passed over that was fucking funny to me is this fucking funeral scene for fucking Colin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His
two
gothic
goth
friends
buddies.
stand up and are like, "No, Colin, take me with you. I should be down there." And you see the parents are over there just like, "What the fuck?" You know?
And then the mother gets up
Stands up,
and
she's like, "Fuck you and fuck your feelings."
yeah, right in the middle of the funeral. It was fucking perfect.
Sorry, I
perfect.
had to mention that before I forgot because that was fucking funny to me.
But
So back to where we were at.
But yeah, so anyway, now Colin Jennifer's like on Colin. She ends up talking him into going to this building that was basically it was an abandoned indoor pool or something. I don't even know what the
it's like
fuck that was.
Yeah.
But it was all overgrown with weeds and shit. And so she takes him in there and she's trying to seduce him. And now Needy has figured out that there's something wrong.
Well, we kind of see Jennifer had told Chip that Needy had been cheating on him with Colin, and she was actually they were getting ready to do it right there in the woods. And because she was like, "But you deserve better," blah, blah. She starts seducing him. Right. And he's like, "Let's go somewhere else." And that's when they start walking up to this old pool or whatever, fuck it, rec hall, whatever it is.
I don't know. It was weird because it was all overgrown with weeds and shit.
All kinds of writing all over the place.
There was even fucking weeds in the pool and shit. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, and then like she's sitting with him and he's like, "What are we doing?" She's like, "We're gonna go for a swim." He's like, "No, really." Like,
yeah.
And they sit down or whatever, and then like she's like, "Just kiss me," and then he starts to be like, "No, I can't. You know, I love Needy, blah blah."
Right.
And then that's when she's like, "Fuck you!" Fucking throws him in the water.
Yeah, she throws him in the water and then jumps in after him. And so that little war is going on between them, and then at this point you see Needy running towards the pool.
Yeah, because she's sensing something's going on.
Yeah, she figures out where they're at because she finds the corsage laying on in the park.
Yep.
So she knows that Jennifer's got him. So she goes running into this place and she breaks into. Well, she doesn't really break in, but she climbs through a window. And as she climbs through the window, she sees that Jennifer has got Chip up against a wall of the pool and she has bit his neck.
Yeah.
And Chip looks at Needy and he was like, "Help me," or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? And so Needy immediately jumps in the pool and goes after Jennifer. And I thought it was so fucking cool that she gets away from Jennifer and she
fucking levitates up.
Jennifer, just levitates up out of the water. She's probably 15 feet above the surface of the water,
if not more.
And she's talking to her, and at that point you're looking at her and you're like, "Holy fuck, you were in trouble."
It looks cool as shit.
Yeah, because it was a fucking killer scene.
And this is what I was telling you, how they throw like funny shit in there. And he's like, "Oh my god, she could fly." And then Needy's like trying to get Chip out of the boys, and Needy's like, "She's just fucking levitating. It's not that fucking impressive."
Yeah.
and then Jennifer's up there. She's like, "You always have to like contradict anything I do. It cannot be cool, blah blah."
Yeah.
And they're having this little fucking teenage spat or whatever it is,
So anyway, there was a big fight ensues between Jennifer and Needy ends up stabbing her with a fucking pool net handle right through the gut, and then
No, Chip does.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Chip stabs her like because they're fighting.
Yeah,
they're
right.
doing this little thing, and then Chip like stabs her through the gut and shit, and he like falls over and laying there.
Right.
And
she just pulls the fucking thing out and then fucking leaves.
Yeah.
Like, she fucking walks off and fucking climbs out the window.
Yeah.
And disappears. So then, you know, of course, you know, Needy's trying to, you know, be there for Chip, and he's like, you know, this is the end. I just want you to know that before I die, I love you, and all this stuff, you know. And there's a very, very sad scene going on there. Well, then Needy, basically it ends with Needy.
She gets out.
It ends with her and Chip in the pool area.
Yeah.
So then the next scene you see is Jennifer laying in her bed.
Well,
and Needy is staring at her through the window. You've went back to the beginning of the movie now. You're seeing the very first scene of the second scene of the movie, where Needy is looking at her through the window, and Jennifer's laying in her bed, and Jennifer doesn't know she's there. Well, next thing, Needy comes crashing through the window.
It's so funny too. She's like fucking straight, just like
she blasts
through the
ninja crashes through the fucking window. I don't know how the fuck she did it, but anyway, they get in a fight on the bed, and there's a lot of rolling around and, boners flopping and,
Well, that was hard. That was hard watching it.
It was hard watching. It was really hard. Anyway, they're fighting on the bed. Well, Needy ends up on top of her, and she's got like this one of those
levitate up off the bed.
She's got one of those extractable razor knives.
Yeah, X-Acto knives.
And she's trying to stab her with it, and as she's on top of her trying to stab her, of course Jennifer's holding her, keeping her from stabbing her, and then all of a sudden both of them levitate up off the bed, and they're floating in midair. Mm-hmm. And then
she flips her
over.
Uh-huh.
And somehow Needy gets back on top of her again, because it shows Jennifer falling to the bed. And then Jennifer falls on the bed.
She rips off the BFF thing.
Oh, yeah. They both had these necklaces that was a heart, and it said BFF on them. She rips that off, and whenever she did that, Jennifer fell back onto the bed, and as Needy comes down, she plunges this fucking razor knife right into her heart.
I love it. This is my favorite part.
So she's on top of her, and Jennifer's mom starts calling her.
Well, before that happens, whenever she stabs her in the chest and she falls down on her and she stabs her chest, and she's sitting there looking at her, she's like, going dying or whatever. She goes, "My tit."
My tit, yeah.
She's like, "No, your heart."
Yeah. Well, then Jennifer's mom walks in the room and sees Needy on top of her with this knife. And it's funny because Needy turns around and looks at her mom, and then all of a sudden it's like, she pulls the knife out of her chest, and then she rolls over on the bed, and the next thing you know, Needy is in the
shows her back
in the asylum.
Now you're at the beginning of the movie.
Now you're back to the beginning of the movie.
And it shows her.
And she's sitting in an isolation chamber.
Remember, this is the part where in the beginning she kicked the lady. Yeah. Fucking Spartan kicked the lady.
So now she's sitting in an isolation chamber, and she's talking, she's talking to herself, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, she's narrating the story.
Yeah.
And she's saying during the fight, she had gotten bit.
Right.
And she says,
And she pulls her shirt back, and you see the bite mark on her shoulder.
And she's like, when you get bit by a demon,
if it doesn't kill you,
you gain a little bit of their power.
Yes.
And then she's levitating.
And then all of a sudden she levitates up
like 15 feet in the air.
Yeah. And then the next thing they show you is outside the prison. Through the window, they show her. She floats up to the window, and she's looking out the window.
Kicks that some.
And then she kicks it open, and then it shows her escape the prison.
Yeah. And then she's and this is getting towards the end.
And then shortly after she escapes the prison, we didn't even talk about when Jennifer ran into the foreign exchange guy.
Oh yeah, explain it.
Jennifer actually killed the foreign exchange guy on her way back to Needy's house.
After the fire.
He had escaped the fire.
Yeah.
And she ended up killing him. But anyway, so Needy now has escaped this institution, and it shows her walking off. And
This
then
is where she runs into.
Well, that's when the credits start rolling. And then in the credits, they start showing you the band, this low shoulder band.
All
They're like
famous and-
way high up now. They've signed to a record label. They're traveling the country. Needy is walking down the road, and this station wagon pulls up,
and
you hear this old dude yell out, "Hey, lady, you need a ride?" And she gets in the car, and it's fucking Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. He turned around. I was like, "Holy shit!" But anyway, he asks her, where she's headed, and she says, "Oh, I'm just following a band." And then that's when you start seeing the credits roll, and during the credits, while the credits are rolling, it shows basically her going in. She finds this band at a hotel room, and she goes in and she kills every one of them.
Yeah.
And then as she's walking out of the hotel, it's really fucking cool because all these like groupies and shit are running down the hallway, and they run right past her, and she walks right down the hallway, and she looks up at the camera and smiles, and then the movie fades out.
Yeah.
Fucking cool, dude. It was a killer movie.
Great movie, man.
If you guys haven't seen that, we just ruined the whole fucking movie for you, but hey.
It is what it is.
You should have seen this by now. Like we said, this came out in 2009.
Yeah.
Great
film,
It's
guys.
just a fucking killer movie. Beautiful women. It's just fun to watch. It's got everything in it. It's
Comedy,
got music,
horror, fucking.
it's got metal. It's got fucking horror, fucking Satan, everything.
Got all kinds
everything.
of cool shit. It's definitely worth
just cool.
fucking watch.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, guys, check that one out. That was our episode on Jennifer's Body. We hope you liked it. Why don't you guys leave us some comments? Let us know what you're thinking.
Hell yeah.
If you go over to our, you can leave comments on your podcast that you're iTunes, Spotify, wherever you can leave comments on there, or you can go to our YouTube page and leave some comments on the video.
Yeah.
Check us out. Let us know
If you
what
go to
you think about some stuff.
YouTube, subscribe to our page, ring that bell. That way you get notifications. Because there's going to be some really cool videos coming up here in the near future.
We got some stuff coming up that we're going to be excited to be telling you guys about.
Yeah.
We're moving and grooving on some things, and we're going to leave it at that for now.
Hell yeah.
But there's a lot of good things on the horizon.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into all that, or
we don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this movie long enough.
100%.
Oh, there was one thing I did want to mention about the writer Diablo. Cody. She's actually in a scene in the movie. She gets set on fire inside the bar.
Okay.
And it was funny because she was talking to the director about it, and she said they didn't want to let her do it. And she was like, well, Burt Reynolds did a full body burn, and they ended up letting her do it. They wouldn't let her do a full body burn.
Yeah, I see it. She's the one that had her back on.
Yeah, her back was on fire.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the writer of the movie.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Blonde
Cool.
lady, I believe.
Anyway.
Anyways, guys, check that movie out.
Yeah, it was cool shit.
We love you guys, as you guys know. Thanks for all your support. The horror fam is growing up like crazy. You guys are fucking awesome. We love you. And as always, until next time, keep it creepy. Yeah.